Did you? Uh-oh. Did you see the game?
No, I didn't. No, I was like looking at the scores and stuff every a few minutes, but no, I watched some highlights afterwards.
Uh-huh. Yeah, y'all. Y'all did y'all thing, man. Y'all did y'all thing. I give you on that, and we haven't met in a couple weeks, so last time we reconvened, actually my Cowboys were still, kind of in the playoffs. Well, no, we were going to the playoffs. So, um, yeah, that didn't work out so good for us. I actually planned to meet y'all, hopefully in that NFC championship game. But yeah, Dak with Dak, and so and everything else. So yeah, it kind of went south from there. But sincerely, you're not a regular 49er fan that I'm used to, kind of dealing with and work and everything else. So salute to you, brother. Salute to you. Salute to you.
I appreciate it, but like I said, I win gracefully, I lose gracefully. You know, and so I said at the beginning of the season, I thought we was gonna be in the NFC Championship, and I
Mm-hmm.
said once we got there, I would take it, game by game and everything like that. Obviously, when I looked at the score at halftime, I was just like, because again, I didn't know what was happening. I just could see the score, so I'm like, okay, you know, good season. I was like, but I'm not gonna post anything until the end. And then
Yeah.
I looked in the second half. I was like, okay, we must have kicked the field goal because it was 10 to 2040, and like literally like 2 minutes later, I looked again. It was 17-24, and I was like, okay, well, we down one score. Then it was tied up, and I was like, oh, okay, we got a game. And then when I looked at it again, like 5 minutes after that, it was up 34-20. I was like, oh shoot, like okay. So I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Y'all did your thing, man. Now I actually work with. I'm on a team with a person that's from Detroit, and so he was hyped, but then given from where they come from, he was satisfied with their season because he was expecting to win maybe one playoff game and go from there. But I don't know if you didn't see it, but they coach Dan Campbell made a call to go for it on 4th and 3 in the fourth quarter. I think y'all was up 27-24, and it was probably 7 or 8 minutes left, and it was a horrible call. Pretty much, I'm not sure if you were hip on that, but it was a pretty horrible call. They didn't go they went for it and they didn't get it. They didn't try the 3 points. It would have been about a 47, 48-yard field goal, and they declined to take that. Instead, try to go for it, and pretty much that was a ball game. Y'all went down. The pressure was off. Purdy did this thing, and you know what I'm saying. So, uh, and I put something up. I thought it was a pretty much choke job by the Lions, though. I thought it was a choke job. Um, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good choke job and how they did it, but y'all handled it gracefully and y'all did y'all thing. And yeah, so I hate to say that I'm probably ain't no probably I'll be going for the Kansas City in the Super Bowl just so y'all can't get y'all 6 ring, so y'all can stay with us with the 5. 'Cause I think y'all got 5, right?
Yeah, we got 5.
Yeah, y'all got 5. So yeah, so y'all this
I I don't think they choked. Like if you watched the Detroit games, and like since Campbell's been the head coach, like that's been his MO. Like statistically, They actually, and I don't know if they did this year, but I know in the past they've led the NFL in fourth down conversions, like since he's been the coach. You know what I'm saying? Like it's bit like anything less than 5 yards, like he's going for it. You know, and they have a pretty good track record of doing it. Shannon said something, and it wasn't about this game, but it was like, I believe it was, I think when we beat Green Bay, but he was like, in the playoffs, you know, if you kick field goals, you're gonna lose. You know, like so if you settle for field goals, you're gonna lose the game. You got to go for the touchdown. So I mean, if it was like a 4th and 5 or something like that, you know, that probably would have been different. But like, they've been doing it all year long. You know, they've been doing it. I want to say this is Campbell's like 3rd or 4th year being their coach. They've been doing it since he's been, you know, coaching. That's their MO. The only difference is that like you got to remember in 2020, you know, the core of this team was in the Super Bowl. You know, that's Fred Warner, that's Debo, that's Bosa, that's I believe we had Trent Williams. He had just came over to us. A lot of those guys was on that team that lost Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Last year, basically the core of the team was there, you know, without Purdy when Purdy got hurt and lost to the Eagles. It might have been the year before when we lost to, I believe it was the Rams in the NFC Championship game. Like, again, same core, you know, guys. Like, so you got a team that's pretty much the last 4 years, every year we've been there. And feeling like we're supposed to be really like last year, we should have been in the Super Bowl last year had we had a quarterback. And so I think the difference is you got a team that's like been to the dance before, like calm down. You know, this is not an insurmountable. You know, like when the pressure gets on, and as they say, your booty hole get tighter, your nuts get tight. Like, you know, cream rises to the top. You know, like you're gonna see who really made of it and who not. Like I said, I don't think it was a choke job. Like outside of golf, who does Detroit have that's like been there? Anybody that's been on Detroit team, they whole like this their first time in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Golf, you know, with the Rams, you know, he lost in the Super Bowl. So like they got one dude who actually has been in the situation before. And even then, immediately after that, he loses his spot in LA. You know, he gets traded like he's unwanted. Everybody thinks he's gone and washed up. So for him, it was pretty much like redemption, you know. But he's playing with a bunch of inexperienced guys who don't know those situations, who don't know what to do. And it's an old saying that goes, whatever got you to the dance, you know, keep doing that. And so Detroit got to the dance, going on it on 4th down, laying it all on the line, playing the way they type of play, the type of football they play. I mean, true enough, you could say you make adjustments and do this, but even with Dan Campbell, he's never been there before. And he used to play for the Lions, so he ain't never been there as a player or as a coach. You know what I'm saying? So
he played for the Lions. He played for the Lions.
Yeah, I know he played for him at some point. I don't know if he spent his whole career, but yeah, he did spend some time.
I know he spent about 3 years with us.
You know, with them because he knows that culture. But yeah, again, like I said, I just think that the more experienced team, you know, pulled it out. And they say that like luck, the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And so like when you think about it, like, yeah, you could say we had some lucky plays, some lucky catches, some lucky defensive stops, but San Francisco been preparing for this for like the last 4 years, and we got the opportunity. And so just because you get down, it doesn't mean nothing. When preparation meets opportunity, that's the quote unquote luck. And on the flip side, as good as Detroit has been, as surprising as they've been, they wasn't really prepared, you know, for this situation. So, I mean, this season for the Lions, you know, I'm glad they got out of playoff purgatory. They got 2 playoff wins this year, which is more than they've had in the last 50 years. So, I mean, they're going to be a problem for the next, as long as they keep their core together, they're going to be a problem for years to come.
Yeah. Like we say cap on that a little bit on that. Just cause you said you didn't see it. Like you're right. You said Dan Campbell went. I think the number was 34%. I think they were 34% going forward on fourth down. That was far and beyond the highest in the league this year. Like, and I think probably the last 2 years too. But then also, like right before halftime, the reason they got 24 because it was 21-7, and they was at their 35 yard line or something like that, and it was fourth down and maybe goal or maybe like three or something like that. But instead of going for it, and it was like maybe 20 some seconds left, he went for the field goal to get some points on the board before halftime going in there. Now, just like you said, he'd never been there before, but also if you're gonna go for it, you already stacked the deck. You up 21-7. And if you go for it on fourth down and get points there, it's 28-7. And it's like, it's even a harder task for y'all to come back. And so instead of him going for it on that fourth down right before halftime, he went for the points. He got the field goal. Now, fast forward to what happened in the fourth quarter. What I was talking about was 4th and 3. Their MO is to go for it, but they ain't scored the whole half at this point. The whole half. Y'all got all the momentum. Y'all done scored what 20 straight points. You know what I'm saying? Y'all down there now. And so now it's like, you gonna go for it? Because if you go for it, okay, and you don't make it, they're gonna be right there, San Francisco, going down the other field. Now, in hindsight, I heard a couple of Detroit fans, if you miss that field goal, you still gonna be at that same spot. But at least you went for 3 points to tie it up. And so that's why I say they choked it, because given situational football, that like he goes for 34% of the time. That don't mean he goes for fourth down every time. That means that he has other times to where he tried to play situational football, and like given the moment of the game and the situation, that was a complete choke job, because if you were gonna go for it, you probably should have went for it at halftime and tried to go up 28-7, but he decided just to get the points at that point. And so he ain't been consistent. He wasn't consistent with that, especially in that game, because if anything, if you're gonna take the points right there just to add to your lead, you definitely should have at least went for the 3, you know what I mean, just to be like, to get some points, because they ain't scored at this point the whole half. And so they had no momentum at all. And so that's the reason. Well, obviously, choke job that Reynolds dropped a whole lot of balls, just as you saying, with experience. Gibbs fumbled a thing on third or fourth down or something like that, the rookie. So, experience did come into play. But to me, and I had to look up because I didn't know what Dan Campbell. I thought he was a defensive guy because he's such a big dude.
No, he was a tight end.
He was a tight end. Yeah, I had to Google that up. And so I was like, he definitely can't be a defensive player the way he goes for it as much as he does on fourth down, because that would be against his DNA. But I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But he's a tight end. And so given that play, bro, like, that's why I'm saying it's a choke job, because that was a horrible coaching decision just off of he wasn't even consistent in that game, because but right before halftime, he was way closer to the goal line and they could have went for it and scored, but he decided, I'm gonna get 3 points. I'm gonna go in at halftime up 24-7.
Well, did they punt it all in that game?
Huh?
Did they punt it all in that game?
I think so.
So, like, what I'm saying is like, so if you're 34% of the time going for it, it means like 1 out of every three-ish times you're in the fourth down, you're gonna go for it. So, I mean, to me, again, that is consistent. If on one time you don't go for it, but I know some other times in that game, because like I said, when I was looking at the score, I see they have the ball or whatever, and then it would like be a fourth down, and then the next time I looked at it, they still had the ball, which means they converted the fourth down. It doesn't mean you go for it every time, but like 1 out of every 3 times, you're going to go for it. When you're up 14 points and you decide to kick a field goal, you're playing with house money. When you down 3, And like again, like the way I'm looking at the score, that San Francisco only had 7 at halftime. So you go from having 7 to 24, tying it up, and then you said that was up 27,
Yep.
24. So now
27,
they done
24.
scored basically every time they've gotten the ball, whether field goal or touchdown, they've gone down and scored. They have momentum. So what's to say, like, let's just say hypothetically speaking, you do convert the field goal, tie game, but they got that momentum. They not worried about you kicking a field goal.
But the pressure's
Field
still
goal.
on. It's a
No,
different
no,
game.
but what I'm saying is all San Francisco would have to do at that point is to kick another field goal to be up.
Yeah.
And then the pressure's back on you. I mean, again, San Francisco's been in that situation before. But now if y'all go down, if they go down and get a touchdown, because let's say they converted that 4th down, well, some more time is going off the clock. And even if they do just end up getting a field goal, because more time would have been taken off the clock, now the pressure's on San Francisco. Purdy, you got to go down and make something happen. And just this season, a good example is the Cleveland game. Yeah, Brock got us down there, but we missed the field goal. You know what I'm saying? I know it wasn't a Minnesota game. It was because I know when we took that 3 games kid, it was Minnesota, Cleveland, and I can't remember
Talking
the
about
other
them
team that was
L's.
off in
Y'all,
that 3 games.
yeah.
But in 2 of the games, like we had opportunity to go down and score. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't. So hypothetically speaking, I mean, and this is from us being down. Like, so hypothetically speaking, if they score a touchdown, now to score and convert the extra point, now it's 31-27. So we can't go down and kick a field goal. Now we got to score a touchdown because we're down 4. As opposed to if y'all tied up, all we need is 3 and we win the game. But if Detroit scores a touchdown, now we have to score a touchdown in order to get a lead. So, I mean, again, in any gamble, you know, you have to do what's called a calculated risk. I mean, and on the flip side, again, we watch games, and I know it's the playoffs, and so it's more on the line. But we watch games where like a team didn't go for it on a 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and like you end up losing the game, and it's like when they go back and the analysts are talking about it, like they should have went for it on that 4th down. But now, because again, if Detroit converts it, he's a genius. He's got moxie. You know, all these words that they use. But because they didn't, it's like, oh, he shouldn't have went for it. But again, 1 out
Not
of
for
every 3
me.
times,
Not on that.
that's what they do, though. 1 out of every 3 times, that's what they do. And they look really good when it works for them. And when it doesn't, you're saying like, oh, you know, they shouldn't have did it. But like, again, that's what they've been doing since Campbell has been their head coach. That's what's kind of changed the culture around, because it does kind of give you that anticipation and expectation, like, we got to get this. You know what I'm saying? It makes people kind of rise to the top. But just, again, in this situation, you're dealing with a team who has had their backs against the wall, who all the pressure has been on us all season. Like, from the beginning, we were favored at least to be in the NFC Championship game, you know, again. And so the pressure definitely would have been on us if Detroit would have scored. You know, but I mean, a touchdown, not a field goal. Oh, that's nothing, because all we got to do is go down and kick a field goal.
Yeah, but that to me, it still makes it a different game. Like butts get tight. Like even during that whole game, like Purdy, he didn't start looking good till that momentum started going. Like, to me, just situational football. Like if it's 27-27, like you said, they go down, they kick a field goal. Okay, that's fine. You can go down and kick another field goal or try to go get another score. But to me, when they didn't convert that 4th down, and y'all were playing with house money at that time, because it was like, hey, nigga, it don't matter if we get 3 here, we get 7. Like, everybody playing more fluid. You know what I mean? Like, and I know this being a Cowboy fan, like, it's a different game if we up 27-24 and Dak got the ball. Dak ain't feeling that pressure like that if it's 27-27. It's like, hey, butts get tight and stuff like that. Like, and Purdy, it had some little shaky stuff going in the first half because y'all were down and y'all doing this. Like, to me, you put somebody in the position, like, but once you went for fourth down and didn't make it, Sam, I'm like, yeah, it's over with. I knew that it was over with just because of y'all already had the momentum going forward. That's the thing. Y'all already had the momentum. Y'all scored 20 straight points and they haven't scored none in the second half. Like, once you, just for me watching football, I've never been a hierarching football coach other than, you know, with EJ and stuff like that. But I know if the second half you haven't scored at all, period, you need to get on the board to get some type of, you know, momentum going. But to Dan Campbell's credit, like, if this happened to them next year again, I think he would make a different decision just because, you know, hey, we used to going on fourth down, but it's like, there's a difference between being aggressive and being stupid. Like, to me, he was stupid on that just because of the situation in the football. You know what I mean? But to y'all credit, y'all took advantage of it. And like, as well, being a Cowboy fan, that's you know what I'm saying. Give Purdy credit because he looked like Lamar Jackson there in the last 6-7 minutes because he was running the ball, you know what I mean, for 10-15 yard chunks. So I was just messed up because I put my eggs into the Detroit basket, and I ain't want y'all to get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You know, selfishly, but you
I mean,
know,
with that, but see, the thing is that y'all now, I really am starting to believe that all of y'all are delusional because I've said this. Y'all put together a great roster, but y'all will never win another Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is you all's owner. Because
possibly.
his ego is not going to allow him to let the coach do their job. He wants to be he has turned into like the Jerry Krause of football. Like Jerry Krause put together winning every player that came to Chicago from the Horace Grant draft to Scottie Pippen. You traded for Bill Cartwright. You traded Oakland for Bill Cartwright. You drafted Jordan. But people started talking about how good Phil was coaching, how good Jordan was, how good the team was. Nobody was saying Jerry Krause. So now you got to start letting people know that you that guy. And because the owner didn't step in and like, hey, Jerry, you know, you need to chill out. Like, for the most part, we had that run with D Rose, but we never recovered simply because of one man's ego. Like when
Okay,
Harbaugh,
so what did Jerry have to do with the L that we took to the Packers up?
no, what I'm saying is that again, y'all could have had. We talking about this season, but y'all have been saying McCarthy ain't the coach. But certain
Mm-hmm.
coaches would have fit better, but they don't want to come.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all pretty much have to take what y'all can get because the coaches that would do well with those rosters that would get y'all a championship, they don't want to come because I don't want to be micromanaged. I want to be able to do my job. But coaches that go there don't mind letting Jerry, you know, be out in the media and do what he's doing. And I mean, as far as I've seen, he's the only owner in the NFL like that.
No, he is.
And
Now,
and that
now,
and that's cool. And that's cool, man. Get that shine. You know, you're the most valuable franchise in the NFL. You're worth the most money, man. Get that shine, but just be prepared to do the exact same thing. And I told I was telling my daughter this because she plays basketball. I said, you know what? I said, if you're comfortable with your position on the team, if you're comfortable with your playing time and everything that you did, keep doing exactly what you're doing. You're going to be in the exact same position next year and the year after that and your senior year. I said, but
okay,
if you want it to change, you're gonna have to come. You're gonna have to come a different way.
I got a question though, right? Okay. Now, pretty much I agree with you. I mean, we've talked about this before. Like, Jerry is different. He steps on toes. He's a habitual line stepper when it comes to how other teams deal with their squads and stuff like that. But let's say we had that guy at the quarterback position, would that even matter?
I don't think again, like I said, I feel like
because Dak choked, dog. Dak is not good in the playoffs.
I'm not saying he didn't, but that was this year. It's been other times where it wasn't necessarily 100% on him.
What
You
year
know
was
what I'm
that?
saying? So like case in point, like Kyle Shanahan has historically, been in situations where he's blown and made bad coaching decisions. You can go back to when he was in Atlanta and they blew that lead versus the Patriots and everything like that, and he was the offensive coordinator. Now, again, was that on Dan Campbell because he didn't say, hey, change the plays up? We don't know, but Kyle Shanahan was the one calling plays that year that Matt Ryan won the MVP. In San Francisco, like some of those times. So we know at some point you got to adjust. He's made adjustments over the years so that he doesn't have that narrative that when he get down, because it happened the other week, it's like the 49ers were 0 in however many games when they were trailing in the fourth quarter by a certain amount of points, and they broke it when we beat Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? Then we turn around again. Kyle Shanahan has never come back from so many points down to win again. But it's about making adjustments and doing that. And what I'm saying is that what got you to the dance, keep doing that.
Has
Y'all
Dak
had
not
it
been
with Jimmy
bad though the
Johnson.
last 3 or 4 years in the
No, what I'm
playoffs?
saying is when y'all had the formula, when y'all had Jimmy Johnson, y'all had the formula. So go back and revisit when y'all had the dynasty, what worked? What was I doing when we were at our apex? Go back to that. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Don't change for the sake of changing. You
Yeah.
change because you gotta elevate. You change because something's not working. But if I got a well-oiled machine, that's like buying a brand new car and you driving to work every day and it's like everything is running good and you're like, you know what, I think I'm gonna change the tires.
But
And then
Rag,
all of a sudden the car
but
started
you know
messing
what
up.
messed that up though? You know what messed that up? Honestly, Jerry would be going to get somebody like Jimmy Johnson, but what messed that up? Barry got one, dog. He won with Jimmy's team, and so that gave Jerry the confidence, like nigga, no, I can get whoever I want
No, but and what I'm
to
saying
do
is,
that.
but what happened the very next year?
We didn't
So
win,
no, and what I'm saying is, and again,
but
case
he
in
got a
point,
bowl though. He got a bowl doing it,
juxtaposing.
getting a coach that fits his system that is not as controlling as
And,
Jimmy.
and again, I say, if y'all like what y'all are doing, keep doing the exact same thing. Y'all gonna be there next year. Until Jerry decides to do something different, y'all are gonna be in the same position next year.
I'm realistic. Jerry ain't gonna do nothing different till he die, dog.
So, and that's what I'm saying. So it ain't even no point
But
in
what
getting
I'm saying though,
backwards
if we
and
had the
all of that
guy,
because
if we
y'all are
didn't
gonna
have Dak
be,
back there, let's say
yeah.
we have somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes that can supersede. Like McCarthy is a good coach, but he needs somebody to supersede what he brings to the table coaching wise. I'm saying
If
if we had somebody like Dak, somebody better than Dak to supersede that, I think we could overcome that. But Dak is just not as of what I've seen, it's not the guy. Everything is in between his ears. It's not his talent. It's not his arm. He can do all the things that you want a QB to do, but it's something in between his ears that happens in the playoffs that's the problem.
and I would be with you on that if when he went on that stretch where y'all towards the end of the season and all the Cowboys fans was hollering he should be the MVP. None of you all were saying
Regular season
these are
MVP,
empty
correct?
calories. These are empty calories. Screw
Regular
that.
season MVP,
No, and what I'm saying is everybody was back on the Dak train.
right?
Nobody was saying these are empty calories.
From what he was doing in the regular
Y'all was
season,
like he's
yes,
back on it. We're
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We back on board. No, he did what he always does.
In the
Just
regular
like
season,
Jerry's gonna do what he always does. And until he does something, it was the same with Romo. Romo was great in the regular season and in the playoffs, but in some degrees, you can coach guys up or you can save guys from themselves. It's got to be kind of a hand in hand type of thing like that. And again, even if y'all have because even with McCarthy, it happens sometimes. But if Aaron Rodgers was so great, they only won one. They only went to one Super Bowl.
But they got one though.
But again,
That's all we need. We
and
just
you got
need
to
one.
remember though that team got put in place before McCarthy came. It was just like the Barry one. He inherited a particular team, and they won because y'all had AJ Hawk. I mean, the Green Bay had AJ Hawk. They had Clay Matthews. They had Charles Wilson. Like that defense was amazing. And then the very next year, they didn't re-sign a lot of those guys, and they went back there no more. But Aaron won 2 more MVPs with Mike McCarthy. Well, one with Mike McCarthy and the other one with LaFleur. But what I'm saying is, he inherited a situation, and you can inherit a situation and win one. Case in point, Steve Kerr inherited Golden State, and as long as that core was there, they were constantly good. But once that core started falling off, now you got to bring in a Kevin Durant. Cool.
That's my point. That's my point. They had a guy. We don't have that guy at the QB to supersede anything.
Curry was the Dak, or Clay was the Dak, or Draymond was. They already had their Dak. They won a championship with their Dak.
Right. So to that point, they didn't have a Dak because Dak ain't did nothing.
And then when KD left, though, didn't they win another one?
Yeah, that proved my point. Like they ain't got no Dak on that team, dog.
The point that I'm making is that Steve Kerr inherited a situation. And so now when these guys start getting old, though, now they're questioning, is it over with? Can Steve Kerr really coach? No, he walked into a situation. I could have got out there and coached Steph and Clay and Draymond when they was going on their run. Mark Jackson had already made them, just like that core that Dallas had, that Jimmy made. Any coach could have came in there and got at least one with it. And then the very next year, when Barry won, y'all ended up getting Charles Haley and Dion.
Because they had that guy at QB.
Y'all was
had that guy at QB. What I'm saying is, if we had somebody else other than Dak, what I'm saying is, I think we could. But just because we got Dak and we got McCarthy, that makes it hard. Like at this point, we could go 17-1 next year, and I don't care. And I said that this year, I don't care. As long, I want to see what you do in the playoffs, because Dak has proven that it's something in between. I saw from the first snap, bro. His booty was tight.
And mark my words on it. Because whether we done blown up and we on TV, we may not be doing this no more. But I'm mark this date down. Whenever Jerry Jones died, within 5 years, y'all gonna win the Super Bowl. And that's gonna be more Super Bowls y'all have had in the last 30 years. I'm telling, mark my words on it. January 29th, 2024. When Jerry Jones leaves this earth, within 5 years, y'all will win the Super Bowl, because Stephen Jones is going to get a coach and let him coach and do what he do. And it don't matter if y'all got the quarterback, because the Ravens didn't have the quarterback. They had the defense, but they had a game manager when they won the Super Bowl. When Tampa Bay won with freaking the dude that be doing the quarterback stuff with Trent Dilfer, they didn't have a guy. They had a defense, but they had an owner who let the coach. And Gruden came in there and took over what Tony Dungy had, and they was able to get them one. So it ain't necessarily, it's great to have that particular quote unquote guy, but history has proven New York won with Phil Simms. Phil Simms ain't a Hall of Famer. Washington won with Mark Rippon. He ain't a Hall of Famer. Doug Williams was good. Doug Williams ain't a Hall of Famer, but they won with him. You don't necessarily have to have Dan Marino or Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Montana or Steve Young or Troy Aikman at quarterback. You can have a Jim McMahon for the 85 Bears.
Supersede what I'm saying is, to supersede what we're up against at this moment with Jerry Jones, And Mike McCarthy is a solid coach. We do need that guy. Like to your point, other people that won like that, they had those type of coaches that can help them with that. Like I think that I won't even disagree with what you were saying. Like once Jerry Jones passes or transitions on, I probably would agree with that. But as far as what we're dealing with now, for me being a Cowboy fan and knowing that Jerry Jones is going to continue to be Jerry Jones, like we need something to supersede what's going on. And
Well,
so
nothing is going to supersede Jerry.
a talent would, but
No,
I
no,
don't know where that
no,
talent would come from.
no, because you still got to have a coach.
McCarthy is solid enough. He's solid enough.
On another team.
He's solid enough. Like even Dak messed up against the Packers, but also that our defense was trash. Like we gave up 48 points within 3 quarters. So as bad as Dak played and did the pick six and stuff like that, our defense has a lot to go on. But next year, then we're gonna move on from this. So we're spending a lot of time on this. We got a third rounder that broke his ACL in spring camp from Texas. That's supposed to be our safety, 6'3", 250. I forgot his name. He's gonna be a great help for us next year. Trayvon coming back. We're gonna have Bland on the other side. Probably not gonna have Gilmore. But at this point, bro, like I don't, and I was telling a coworker this, I don't even want to see Dak when we get a touchdown in the regular season. Like, you know how he get the touchdown? Yeah, yeah. Like I don't care. I don't care. Like, because what's going on with Dak is in between his ears. And my guy that's from Detroit, he's a Michigan fan. The Wolverines just won the championship, so he was glad about that. He was saying they had a therapist on the sideline with McCarthy, JJ McCarthy, to help him out. Like I seriously, I don't know. I don't know if Cowboys have a therapist on the sideline or something like that, but it's between Dak's ears, dog. Because what I've been seeing from him, there's nothing there. That's the only explanation. It's not, oh, he's just constantly like, no, dog is just not mentally tough when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to situational football. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, all the Dak jokes,
January
I'm
29th,
I'm with it.
2024.
I'm
When
with it.
Jerry Jones died within 5 years, Dallas will win another Super Bowl. Until the end, just keep ready to just to keep you some popcorn ready.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. All right. So what we got next year, man? Okay, let's get on your cousin here, Jason Whitlock. Um,
I mean, he doesn't come into the family reunions. He know what it is.
him and Stephen A. Like this is a couple weeks ago. Um, now from what I've like, people, my boy Pat hit me up a lot of times, and like this your boy Whitlock, and because I have agreed with him in the past on certain things. Just like, look, man, like certain people can be right sometimes. They don't mean they're right all the time. You know what I mean? Like Jason Whitlock has made some points that I rock with. You know what I'm saying? Like on a couple different levels. Even when he was writing for the undefeated for the ESPN back in the day, I get that. I was with him on some of those articles too. But now I do agree with him. The Stephen A. thing, like they started it a while back with the beef, but the recent thing what has been coming up is when Jason Whitlock was talking about Stephen A. and his memoir when he was writing his story or book or whatever, and he was like he was telling the story how he got on at the HBCU he was playing basketball on, and basically Jason Whitlock called Cap on the story, like how you got down and stuff like that. And if you listen to the story and stuff, like it's like, come on, bro. Like it was you just know it probably didn't go down like that. Now, when Stephen A responded and made the video and calling him a fat bastard and a bitch and whatever else he was saying, um, Stephen A was talking about everything else except what Whitlock was actually talking about. And that's one thing I don't like about Stephen A. He's very political. He's a politician because you can address something, but he's not going to address what you just said. He's going to talk about everything else that he knows is wrong about you and how bad of a person that you are. And so he went on this whole rant talking about Whitlock, but never addressed what actually Whitlock was talking about and why he think that he was fabricating what he was talking about in his book. And so I thought Stephen A was, disingenuous about a lot of stuff. Not even saying he's lying about Jason Whitlock, but none of that stuff he brought up about Jason Whitlock had nothing to do with what Jason said that he was lying about. He never did go up and address that. All he said was, "You can go check the records. I had a scholarship at HBC." Okay, we're not saying that, but we're saying that the story that you told and how you got that scholarship in the HBCU with Big House Gaines, I think that was his coach. Like that probably didn't happen. And he never addressed that. Like that's the thing I don't like about Stephen A. He knows how to manipulate different lines and how to, say certain things. So that's pretty much my take on it. Like I think it's kind of interesting because I think Marcellus Riley he got in on it too because Jason Whitlock brought in Marcellus Riley in on the whole situation and all that stuff. I think the beef is interesting, but I also think Stephen A is a master manipulator and he will not address what Jason Whitlock was talking about, but he'll talk about everything else and how much he's a traitor, he's a fat bastard, he's for the white people and but that wasn't what Jason Whitlock brought up.
Well, I've followed Jason Whitlock, for a long time, even before he got on TV when he was on the radio and stuff like that. And even though I didn't agree with all of his takes, like I had respect because I know he was a former college football player, former lineman. He played 4-year letterman in college. So I knew that some of what he was talking, it wasn't just media. He could also speak from a player's perspective. So I do respect his intellect. I respect his credentials. I respect his years in the game because nobody can take that away. As a person, as a man, however, I'll never in my life respect him nor Marcellus Wiley because I don't know them personally, but everything they do and say is very coonish to me.
Hey, Marcellus,
Both of them. I have never
dog.
ever seen them. It's like they go out of their way. They're like Steven from Django. They go out of their way to please Mr. Candy. Like that. It's never when we're talking, especially if we're talking about issues, whether it be sports or
With Marcellus though
politics.
too.
It's never a. I have never seen them. Like for example, with Brett Favre's situation, they on Brett Favre's side. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just wrong. But let that have been Michael Jordan. Let that have been AI or Shaq or somebody like that. Man, they would have been they would have been on his head. But Brett Favre, they don't say nothing about. And that's just another one of those examples, like with the George Floyd situation. If that was a white dude that got choked out, oh, this officer needs to be thrown up under the jail. It's a black dude. Well, maybe it was fentanyl. Like that's the type of stuff that they be on. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, regardless
Not
of maybe
Marcellus
you're,
though.
and I like this is what I do all day. I listen to them all day. So that's what I when I be at work in the mid, like that's what I do all day. I have my Bluetooth in, like I'm listening to them all day.
Marcellus to
Uh,
me is more
and
like in the
I'm
gray
subscribed.
area.
And guess what?
He's
As
not.
much as I don't, and this is how much I rock with black folks, though. I don't rock with Jason Whitlock, but I'm subscribed to Fearless. And when he posts stuff, I listen to it. So when I have a rebuttal about what he's saying, I know what you said because I spent the time listening to it. And he just repeatedly jumps through the hoops to Coon. The point that Stephen A was making is that y'all are supposed to be talking. Y'all are sports journalists. You're supposed to be talking about sports or things that affect that sphere. You go out of your way to talk about him, and he's not an athlete. He ain't never played in the NBA, but every day, and this ain't no lie. Like I see the stuff. Like I mean, he be on Shannon Sharp. He be on Stephen A. Smith. He be on like Jason Whitlock. Be on these, but don't have nothing to do with sports. It'd be about their personal life. It'd be about people they interview. It'd be about stuff they talking about. And so Stephen A. wasn't responding. But it's just been a constant everyday thing. And when I know he ain't lying, because like I said, I'm subscribed to Fearless. He like at some point every day, and any white person that rock with black people, he be on. And that's why I said it's coonish, because if you're a white person that's like a black sympathizer or somebody that's cool with black people, he would be on you. It's very coonish. And that was where Stephen was coming from.
Yeah, I can see that with Whitlock.
But
like Marcellus though, I don't see they on the same level though.
No, he's just not as big as Whitlock. But Marcellus do the same thing. And like I said, and I thought, well, maybe because he was on the show with Whitlock, that's why he was like that. But then when Whitlock left, and it was Marcellus' show, Marcellus was just as bad as Whitlock. And then so I saw him I watched this whole Vlad TV interview, and he did a couple of them. So I'm thinking like, okay, well, maybe now he's not on TV. He's doing a Vlad TV interview. Maybe he coming with something different. He's on that same stuff with Vlad.
I think you don't like Marcellus because he got on your boy Kaepernick.
No, I used to love Marcellus the player. I love Marcellus the player.
No. But when he
first got on with Whitlock, I was rocking with him tough. Like Emmanuel Acho, the only I didn't remember Emmanuel Acho at all from the NFL. I only remember him from being on that Texas team where him and his brother and there's another dude that's in the NFL. Used to play for Seattle. Like all of them was on that Texas team when Colt McCoy was their quarterback. Like I remember him from that. I didn't remember him from the NFL. But when these guys first get their gigs, I be rocking with them. But then as I listen to I disagree with you on the Kaepernick thing, but it's not just the Kaepernick thing. Anything where a black person is doing something or taking a stand, you're against it. And maybe that moves the algorithm, or maybe that makes Massa happy and it keeps paycheck in your pocket or whatever. Then that's fine. If that's what you want, cool. But that's why I said it reminds me of Steven. And I'm a fair person because as much as I rock with black people.
Hold on, Rack. Now, to what you brought up on the show a lot of times. So I get what you're saying. Marcellus is he's more like gray area, but like the stuff that he's saying though, is it true? Like
Uncle Ruckus said a lot of true stuff.
So what's
and that's what they are. They are Jason Whitlock is Jason. Jason Whitlock is Steven from Django, and Marcellus Wilder is Uncle Ruckus. Uncle Ruckus said a lot of true stuff. But it doesn't change the fact that he was a coon.
Yeah, we disagree on the coon stuff sometimes when it deal with that. Like, actually, I think Marcellus is more objective and actually fair than Jason. Like Jason, I've been having a problem with Jason because he's been like, especially with Prime, he's been on Prime this whole season. Like he's been making jokes, like doing some outlandish stuff, talking about Prime's character, his stuff that's like, dog, like why are you even getting into this to this degree? You know what I mean?
Like, and what I'm saying is it's always personal. It's never business with him. It's personal. And like I said, that's a cool thing.
But I wouldn't agree with that with Marcellus.
Marcellus has been doing the same stuff though, just not to the degree. And he just says it in a more barbershop way. But it's the same energy. It's the same energy.
Well, give me an example of what you're talking about with Marcellus.
It's said in a barbershop way, like, I'm just saying it in jest. But it's like that old saying goes, it's a lot of truth that's said in jest. Like that is how you really feel. In any situation where black people are involved, it's always your fault. It doesn't matter that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Like it's always your fault. But on the flip side, though, if it's somebody white, now you're trying to say, well, let's be empathetic. Let's get into the mindset of all the factors of what was going on. Let's consider this and let's consider that. Like that is how he does that. But if it's a black person, oh well, you shouldn't have been speeding, or you should have been driving here, or you shouldn't even been in that spot. If it's a white person, let's look at all of the factors surrounding now. But if it was a black person, you ain't looking at no factors. And consistently, that's what he has done. Now it ain't been as aggressive as Whitlock, but that is why they got along so well, because they pretty much they are step and fetch it. Like that's what they go hand in hand. And so now, and I don't agree with everything Stephen A says, but I do feel him from the standpoint of is that this man been coming at me for years and I have not responded. And so since you're going to talk about something that ain't got nothing to do with sports, which is what I do and what I report on, well then fine, I'm gonna come equally at you with something that ain't got nothing to do with sports, except for I got the night problem.
Okay, but if
and everything he said about Whitlock, it was the ether. Like I know people embellish. Like he talked about making all these shots, and I was listening to Gilbert Arenas, and they were talking about it. And even Gilden was like, "Man, I don't think he made 17, but like he said, man, if you in the zone and that he trying to see you shoot, and you make 10 threes." It's like when I'm telling the story, like 10 threes might be 12 threes, it might be 17 threes, but if I made 10, like okay, 10 ain't 17, but like I was feeling myself, I was in the zone. I mean, we all do it. Like you could win a fight, and when you talk about it, you'd be like, man, I hit that nigga 10 times. You might only hit him 4. But the fact of the matter is that you won the fight. That's all that matters. The little small details, which that is what it is. Because I've watched interviews with some of his old college teammates that he played with at Winston-Salem State. And so like these guys are talking about stuff that they went through on the team. Like these are dudes he played on the team with. And so like, well, I know he was on the team. Yeah, now maybe he exaggerated on how many shots he made. Yeah, maybe he exaggerated on how many shots he made, you know, in his trial or whatever. But whatever he did enough to get a scholarship to be on the team. Right. But even beyond it, it wasn't like on no Skip Bayless stuff where you acting like you was Pistol Pete Maravich and you only averaged you was a senior on the JV team.
Yeah. My thing is I'm more literal when it comes to stuff. So if I come at you and like, hey Rag, you telling me this story, and I'm being like, nah, I'm sure it didn't happen like that. But then you go off and be like, you talking about other things about me, but never address the thing. Like, I'm kind of like, that's political with me. That's the stuff that you don't like about politicians, to where you think they full of BS. You know what I mean? Like, and my thing with Stephen A is, and then he had a story out too, was talking about how the drug dealer used to look out for him and all this other stuff like that and stuff. It's like different stories don't add up. It's just like, if I'm calling you out on that, but then okay, you talking about other things in my character and stuff, to me, that's deflection. But you never address what I'm saying. Just like with the emails with Hillary Clinton. Like, oh, I'm not gonna address the emails, but I'm talking about, oh, Trump, his daddy was a racist and he redlined all this other stuff. But what about the emails though, Hillary? Like, are you going to address that, what we're talking about? But you're going to deflect and talk about everything else, which may be true. Like, I'm not a Whitlock enthusiast to be like, but I listen just like you. I also listen to Marcellus Wiley. Like, I think they are kind of in the same boat, but I think Marcellus is more, just to me, I think he's more objective and more like, hey, you know what I mean? Because he rocked with Jason. He rocked with Stack 5. He rocked with Matt. He rocked with all of them. But then, I don't know if you saw the story to where Steven Jackson was slick hating on Shannon Sharp's interview with Cat Williams. And then Marcellus Wiley commented on that, was like, hey, man, like, he's slick hating. You know what I mean? Like,
a broken clock is right twice a day.
It is, but I think Marcellus is way more objective than Jason. Jason, you can tell that he does a lot of stuff for clicks and views, and even some of his thumbnails when he had uh Dion Prime on like a noose or something. Like it was
So
just like, come
if
on.
Jason Whitlock hadn't said nothing about Prime, you'd be cool.
No, 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 no. I mean, that's just the latest thing that I know I had an issue with him.
I mean, not because I was on Prime. Like I said, I knew they wasn't gonna do nothing. I said that when he went to Colorado.
Yeah, but he
You know
wasn't.
what I'm saying,
Jason
and I
wasn't
said
even on that. He
I
was
hope
talking
that they
about.
win because I messed with Prime, but I knew they wasn't gonna do nothing.
No, it wasn't
Like
even on
I
that.
mean, but that
Jason
ain't
was
hate.
talking
That's
about how
like
fake he is. That's what
no.
Jason was talking
What
about.
I'm saying is that, and again, I subscribed to Fearless 3 years ago
Mhm.
when I was still working at the Collierville post office.
Yeah.
And again, like I used to just listen. And so now he had stuff on there, and I'm like, you know what? That's a really good point. It don't mean you're not a coon because you made a good point. Man, you know what? Black people, we got to do better. That's a true fact, but that don't mean you're not a coon. When you get through, you still a coon, nigga. At the end of the day. And what I'm saying is that over the last 3 years, before Stephen wrote his memoir, he is on him. So when Stephen started talking his talk, yeah, okay, well, this is the last thing that you said that he didn't address. But he been doing this since he left ESPN. He was doing it when he was on Speak for Yourself. And then before they changed it to Speak, like he was on Stephen then. When he was doing that and Steven and Skip was still partners, he was on Steven then. And so like it's just been building, it's just been building. So yes, from one standpoint, it could look like, oh well, he talked about your book and you ain't say nothing about that, but it's 6, 7 more years worth of stuff you've been saying.
I'm not
That's
privy.
that's all
I'm not privy to that.
that's all I'm saying. And so again, the principle of what Whitlock was trying to do, you were trying to discredit Stephen A. Smith, correct? You were trying to discredit him,
Yeah, he was.
essentially. So what Stephen did is like, okay, we're gonna play the discrediting game. I'm gonna discredit you, which is exactly what he did. I mean, we could talk about specifics of what specifically said, but the essence is you're trying to, because I embellish some things about my personal life, that makes every single thing that I report on and talk about invalid then.
Now, so
Because
you
I
saying
embellish some stuff about my personal life.
so you
But
saying you
you've
rock
been
with
on
Stephen A.
me, huh?
So you saying you rock with Stephen A. more?
No, I don't. I don't, not with everything. No. But I don't believe he's a coon.
You don't believe Stephen A. is a coon.
But he said some egregious stuff. He habitually steps over the line too. But I don't believe he's a coon. Because I've equally heard him roast like the lady who said America ain't never been racist. I've seen him roast her, and I've also seen him say he don't agree with the way Kaepernick handles his situation.
But to me,
I've seen him
man,
give respect to NBA players in their
that's
mental health, but then I also saw him get on Kwame Brown. So it ain't no flip flop like, oh, I'm only rocking with white folks. I only rock with black people and black people can't do no wrong. No. When we are right or we're mostly right, he gonna stand with us. And when we wrong, he gonna get on us. And
I
sometimes
think
he's gonna
Stephen A.
say some
played the
stuff that
game.
we don't like or we disagree with. But when you talk about consistency, he's more consistent and fair. I think now again, he don't always say stuff that people like, and because people don't understand context, they hear something he say and they immediately jump on what's said instead of the spirit behind it or what he's actually saying. But I don't think he coons.
Question I got now. What if somebody I ain't even gonna promote I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna say it. Um yeah, it was kind of off subject. But okay, so I got you. So you more rocking with Stephen A than Whitlock. Which I would assume you would anyway. What I'm saying is that I think Whitlock he's done a lot of ill stuff that I don't even fool with that. But I do think Stephen A is a better politician. He has more followers. He has more stuff, and he plays that game. He knows the thing. That's why he got rid of Max, because he didn't like the way a white dude was making him look. The white dude was looking more pro-black than what he was, and so he didn't like that whole. You know what I'm saying? So I think Stephen A. plays the game to where he's going to try to be down the middle, be like, okay, I'm down for the brothers, but also I kick it with the white people, and I'm gonna say,
I mean, it's about the ratings though. Like the ratings dropped when he had Max. Like that. I mean, now again, we could say maybe it was more to it
yeah,
than
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. The ratings
Maybe it
dropped,
was,
but
but
also, but
the rage
also he
wasn't as
was
high
getting
as it
mad.
was with him and Skip. And then he even said like when we took Max off and we had other people on there before we had somebody up there, the ratings was up. And he said it wasn't that Max is bad, it's just but like our chemistry on the show was good.
But why was it that like that? It was from what I was saying.
I mean, but what I'm saying is if you're looking at the numbers also, and the numbers go down when I'm on there with this person, and the people are coming like, y'all numbers are down, like what's up? And so now I got to look back at like, okay, what am I doing different? What's going on? Well, me and this person don't have a good chemistry, whether it's because we agree with each other, we disagree with each other, or whatever the case may be. It ain't like when me and Skip was on there, and him and Skip didn't do nothing but argue all day.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a bad business move. I'm just
I mean,
saying
but I'm
what
saying
was the
like,
mechanics behind it.
I mean, and again, I'm not gonna lie, I love Max Kellerman, especially the fact that a lot of people don't know this. Max Kellerman, before he became a lawyer, he was a rapper. A lot of people didn't know that.
Yeah,
Max
yeah,
Kellerman, when he was
I
doing the
remember that.
boxing,
Yeah, yeah.
when he was doing the boxing on HBO and ESPN, Max Kellerman would be calling the fights and would be reciting rap lyrics
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, while he's talking about the fight. A lot of people didn't know that
Yeah.
about Max. So like, I rock with Max.
His greatest MC is Ghostface. I remember that.
Max is always invited to the barbecue. Max is down with the swirl. I mess with Max, but at the same time, I get that they did not have a good chemistry. And like I said, it's a lot of stuff that Stephen A. has said that I vehemently disagree with. But when I look at down the line, whether I agree with it or not, I can say, okay, I believe he's being fair. Even if I believe he's off, I believe he's being fair. But like with Whitlock, I don't ever believe that Whitlock is being fair. Whitlock is only fair if it's a white person involved. He's going to be objective when there's white people involved. If it's us, it's over with. It's always your fault. It's always something that you should have done differently. You shouldn't have been in the room. You shouldn't have been born, and then nobody would have ever been racist towards you. That's what you get for being a strong swimmer. Like that. That's the way. That's the way he come off.
Yeah, like I can't deny that with Whitlock. Like I said, my boy Pat, he be joking with me a lot. That's my boy Whitlock, just because a few times I've agreed with him and how he articulates some certain points or whatnot. But yeah, Whitlock he's way more outlandish. Probably fake because he like to get clicks and views to the degree where he'll demean somebody, to a degree personally, and just make it real personal. Like even on here, like we talk about people that we're not on their radar and stuff like that, but I don't try to demean them because I can't say I know them personally. You know what I mean? And Whitlock gets very to my view, like very personal with a lot of people that it's like, hey man, you don't have to, if you do one thing, but he just kept going on and on and on and keep, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of overkill.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like personal with Dion. It's personal with Stephen A. It's for anybody that he don't like. But again, if Dion had been Nick Saban, I guarantee you he wouldn't have won Nick Saban like he went in Dion. Or if that was Tom Brady, who Tom Brady decided he gonna go back into college ranks and get to coaching and stuff like that, and he had his sons on there. and they was getting their NIL deals, I guarantee you he would not have been on Tom Brady like he was on Prime. He wasn't on Jim Harbaugh like he was on Prime.
Yeah.
And that just is like all of them coaches that used to be in the NFL and went back to college. Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. He ain't been on them guys like he was on Prime. And if Prime had had the complexion for the protection for the collection, as the late great Paul Mooney was, I guarantee he wouldn't have had 2 words to say about Prime.
Yeah, definitely not as many
He had 2
episodes as
words
he
to say
made.
about Brett Favre, but you know what else? Brett Favre was a contributor to his show. So you ain't got nothing to say about Brett Favre because Brett Favre be on there every week, him and Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp is part of Dion's staff now, actually. So, but yeah. All right, man. What now? This whole thing about now I do want to. This is kind of like a slide. We can just kind of just bring this up. Obviously, we talked about Cat Williams a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you heard Dave Chappelle had something to say about it. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw some things where it said he commented on it. He had a response, but I hadn't gotten a chance to look at it or listen to it.
Basically, Chappelle was like, "Hey, man, why didn't you call some of them white boys out?" That's exactly what he said. Why didn't you call some of them white boys out? Why it got to be about us? Why you got to call these people out? And then Marlon Wayans had something to say too about the whole thing about wearing dresses and we're not the only people that wear dresses and X, Y, and Z and stuff like that. And we've talked about it on the show before. I'm a Chappelle fan. Like, I think Chappelle is one of the GOATs. I think I do think, just for me, I don't know how you feel, I got to be in the mood to watch Dave Chappelle comedy nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I just want to spit out, laugh, and stuff like that, I probably end up watching somebody else. Like, Chappelle to me right now is sophisticated comedy. You know what I mean? Or intellectual comedy, to where it's more of a conversation than punchlines and jokes and stuff of that nature. He'll eventually get around to stuff like that, but it's more so like, we're having a conversation and we just talking, and I'm gonna say some funny stuff or something more controversial in between. But what he said about Cat, I thought was disingenuous, just because it wasn't like he was aiming to talk about black. Like, he was talking about people that addressed him, that talked about him. And for kind of Dave to come out and be like, "Hey, man, why don't you talk about these white boys?" Like, I think he played the race card. I think he did the OJ thing to be like, "Hey, man, made it kind of a race thing," which the whole Cat situation, in my view, had nothing to do with race and more to do about integrity and just how the game is played. And so it sounded like, to me, Chappelle was like on the other side, kind of like caping for the industry. And Marlon Wayans, he made a comment talking about how, he made White Chicks and it was a classic, and it was other white actors, Tom Hanks and other people that did, dresses and stuff before them. But it's like, to me, it's a different context. If you look on the surface, it'd be like, oh yeah, it's a lot of white comedian actors and stuff that did that stuff too. But what's the context behind it? And I think Marcus Stewart, he actually hit me up. He was talking about how somebody hit him up, like when black people wear dresses and stuff like that, it's more so of they more so do a stereotype. But when white people play people in dresses, white men play people in dresses, it's more of a, they're playing a role, they're playing a character. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the smoke and mirrors part of it. What do you think about that?
First of all, let me start by saying, like, I am very much into stand up and just comedy in general, and not just Yes, I love Corey Holcomb and I love Earthquake and I love D-Ray and the quote unquote the hood comedians, DC Young Fly, Country Wayne, Chico, like all of those guys. But then at the same time, I sit up like I know people that a lot of people don't know, and I sit up and watch. You know what I'm saying? Like I sit up and watch Dave Attell. I sit up and watch Bill Burr. I sit up and watch Greg Giraldo, Colin Quinn, Norm Macdonald, Richard Jenny, and like a lot of these are white guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched a lot of Sam Kinison, but I'm on like the old school Bill Cosby, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Burke. Like I am a comedy connoisseur. Like I could sit up and watch stand up all day. And I said that to say my favorite comedian of all time, and anybody who knows me know my favorite comedian of all time is Patrice O'Neal. But the GOAT to me is Dave Chappelle. Like over Pryor, over Eddie. That's my opinion. But that's because I have watched a lot of stand. I've watched hundreds of hours of stand-ups. Like I got Richard Pryor. I got every single Richard Pryor comedy album that ever came out. You know what I'm saying? Like from That Nigga Is Crazy to Live on the Sunset Strip. Like I've got I know all his characters, like Mudbone. Like I studied Pryor. You know what I'm saying? I got Eddie Murphy's Raw and Delirious on DVD still to this day. Okay, like I've seen all of Chris Rock stand-ups, but Dave is the undisputed GOAT to me. But that's just my opinion from studying all of the greats. And when you look at the body of work, whether it's just his appearances in movies or doing movies, combined with the TV show, where she had a TV show where nobody had a TV show, a sketch show that did what his sketch show did. Like he did bigger numbers than Mad TV, Saturday Night Live. In 2 years, he did better than institutions. And then as well as just as his stand-up and being able to control the public consciousness, like where everybody's talking about what you said, like and the thing that a lot of people miss about humor is it's not just gut busting making me laugh, but it's also that irony. Like that ability to make me think like, man, it's messed up that I'm laughing at this. Or it's kind of funny, but he got a point. Like to me,
I'm at that place now. But I'm saying like Chappelle is that dude for me, like now, but I'm 41 years old. But I'm like, if I'm
no, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like I was, when Chappelle's show was out, I was in my, early 20s. And it was stuff that made you think. It was a lot of stuff that was good, but everything, I was seeing the message and all of that. And I've been on Dave Chappelle when he had the fade. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on him when he was a young kid, when he, before he did Robin Hood Men in Tights, because I love Mel Brooks movies. Like I was on him. So, but with that being said, I disagree with Dave strictly because I know that Kevin Hart is your boy. Cat Williams is your boy. But Kevin Hart is your boy too, though. So you're saying something to not address what he said. You trying to like take up for your boy, for your guy. If you watch the whole thing, though, number one, Cat only addressed people who addressed him. Exactly. Directly and indirectly. I don't recall. The only reason he mentioned Earthquake caused some collateral damage because Earthquake is in league with, you got to remember, Earthquake released his first comedy special. Who produced it? Dave Chappelle. Yep. That's his boy. Okay, but again, a lot of these people directly called out Cat's name or indirectly said some people get on drugs, some people, and he know, okay, well, you said some people, Kevin Hart said my name, you said some people, Michael Blackson said my name, I know y'all all talking about me. So let me address the people that's talking about me. But now, if you watch the whole thing, last time I checked, Harvey Weinstein ain't black. He called out Harvey Weinstein's name.
Right. Yep.
When he made the reference to, I don't know, and all of these people are smart. Last time I checked, Jeffrey Epstein, before he died, Jeffrey Epstein was white. He showed mention and referenced Jeffrey Epstein. So he was and it wasn't done in a way of like, oh, it's just a name. No, he was insinuating like, yeah, y'all know who that is and what he on.
Right.
So he didn't just call out black and what he said about Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein was way worse than what he said about Cedric or Kevin or Earthquake or Steve or any of those guys.
Yeah.
Because you basically talked about two sexual predators. And all he said about Sid is you stole a joke. All you said about Earthquake is that you need to work on your grammar. You said Steve stole jokes and material and stuff like, but he talked about two sexual predators.
Uh-huh.
He ain't mentioned R. Kelly name in that. He only talked about Weinstein and Epstein. So he did get on the white folks. But again, we get so butthurt every time somebody said, and I've always said, when niggas be wrong, I be on them too. That's why, like that, and I've done that whether it was Kanye or Jason Whitlock or Stephen A. Smith or Kwame Brown. When you right, I'm gonna give you your props. When you wrong, I'm gonna say, hey, you could have did better, my guy. That I can't rock with you on that just because you look like me. That's wrong. And so I didn't have a problem with what Cat said. And again, Cat is not my GOAT. And he's not even my favorite. Now, do I like him more than I like a lot of people? Yes, but like my GOAT is Dave Chappelle. My favorite is Patrice O'Neal. I can sit up and watch their stuff back to back to back all day, more than anybody. But and their styles of comedy is totally different. Patrice is completely different. Patrice got more gut busting stuff, funny stuff than Dave do. But and Patrice was actually on Chappelle's show. If you remember the skit where he had the pimp Pitbull, that was Patrice O'Neal. He was Pitbull on that skit where the player haters, the player haters bar where it was Charlie Murphy was Buck Nasty and Donnell Rawls was Beautiful and Patrice O'Neal was Pitbull.
Yep.
Like that, but again, those are on my top. But I don't feel like Cat was being unfair. He was talking about people who talk about him, and again, like nobody says why is Trump talking about all these white folks? It's good entertainment when he do it, but when it come to us, it's like, oh, let's leave it in house. Let's not do that in front of the white folks. Yep. Man, whoever it is, it don't matter if you're black, white, blue, purple, yellow, green. If we got an issue, I'm gonna handle it. Like anybody can get it. Like it don't matter. Like it could be my own bro. We could have lived in the same balls. Even my brothers can get it. If you wrong,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And that, as far as the dress thing goes, white, yes, it's true. White people have been wearing dresses in that movie that came out, I believe, and it was like in the 50s. Some Like It Hot. Jack Lemmon was in it, Marilyn Monroe, whatever, but they was running from the mafia and dude dressed up like a woman in the movie. You know what I'm saying? But like that movie was actually, it fit the plot and it was funny. Tom Hanks in one of his first TV shows, I forget the name of the show, but him and his homeboy, in order to get a job, they was only hiring women. So like women to get the job.
Yeah.
Like that Bosom Buddies. The name of the show was called Bosom Buddies.
Yeah.
And they was like, you know what I'm saying? Like to get a job, they dressed up like women. And so they were kind of trying to balance their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nobody looked at them like you're less than. And I get it. Like Flip Wilson did it on the Flip Wilson show, where he had a character named Geraldine, but that was a character, and the character Geraldine was based off of somebody. I can't think of it. It was a relative or somebody he knew, but it was like almost like an homage, like you're imitating, you're mocking your grandma or something like that. But like Flip Wilson wasn't in movies where he was wearing dresses and like that was a character that he had on his show where he was and if you had a grandma or auntie or a sister like that, it was funny to you because you knew somebody like what he was imitating. But like when I watched Big Mama's House, and I'm not gonna lie, when it first came out, like, but I don't want to see that nigga in a dress. Like that's a movie that I probably only watched one time. I've seen all of them like one time, but that's not a movie I want to keep watching. Like White Chicks, if you take Terry Crews out the movie White Chicks, was White Chicks funny? Like he made the movie funny. Yeah. The scenes where he was interacting with the character, like take him out of it and just have Marlon and Sean wearing a dress because they didn't even look like the girls who they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't like in Coming to America where Eddie Murphy dressed up like the white dude and you actually thought that was an old white dude.
Yeah.
Or in Norbit where he looked like an old Asian man. They didn't look like two white. They looked like some niggas in bad makeup.
Yeah. And to me, that's what I'm talking about. It's the context about it. Like when you look on the surface stuff, that's why I think it's disingenuous and crazy when Marlon bring up, oh, Tom Hanks did this, I'm like, but what makes the difference is the context about the whole thing. It's not just that they were in dresses, but it's the setup around it. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that that really matters. Now, to end this real quick, I know you hear about you see what Mos Def said about your boy Aubrey?
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that 110%. Like I don't even know why this is an issue.
I thought it was funny just because, like, honestly, if you look into be insulted, I guess you can be insulted. But what did he actually say that actually was bad? Like, if you just don't like how you make music, then you make him feel bad about it. But what Mos Def said was like, hey, it like I put it to my wife, right? I asked Rachel. I was just inquiring about something. I was like, okay, so they say, is Drake pop or is Drake hip or is Drake hip hop? I would be like, nah, just like for me, I can't say Beyonce is R&B. Beyonce is not R&B. She's more pop. But that's not a discredit to Beyonce. But when I think of R&B, I don't think of Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? That's not saying that she can't make R&B records or anything like that. But that's just saying, like, when I think of R&B, I think of Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Toni Braxton, maybe Shantae Moore and stuff like that. Like, I don't think of Beyonce. I think of Beyonce making great records, pop records. And so,
I mean, I don't even consider Whitney Houston R&B. Like Whitney Houston was pop, man. And that's not.
Eventually, she got there, but her first two albums was R&B.
No, I mean, like she was the problem that Whitney had. She felt a disconnect from Black people, and they said that was like why she went, even why she got with Bobby Brown, in part because that was like her way of showing Black people like I'm really Black. Because a lot of Black people looked at her like a lot of your songs, you're just remaking white rock and roll songs, you're remaking country songs, you're remaking this particular genre, that particular genre, but this is a white lady sang this song and now you're singing it, or a rock and roll group sang this song and now you're singing it. I remember when she got nominated for I can't remember if it was American Music Award or a Grammy, but like they were booing her, and it was like a lot of Black people that was booing her because it's like you don't fit the genre. You know, she was looked at as she was like America's princess. You know what I'm saying? She was like the pop princess. And it's just because she came out with crossover appeal, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think Beyonce's ever been R&B. Like when I go back and look at Destiny's Child,
that's my point. I don't think she's ever been R&B.
Have a lot of ballads on it. Like everything was meant to be played on the radio, to be played in the club. Like if half of your album is meant to be played in the radio, or meant to be intentionally meant to be played in the radio, or on the radio or in the club, then you're more pop.
That's my point with
ballads on
Whitney.
there, but nobody knows your ballads.
Yeah.
When you think of a Destiny Child, so it's all the songs that are in the club on the right. It's none of your ballads. It's all of your songs that are meant to cross over.
And
And
to me,
so,
when
like
I think of R&B, I think of ballads. Like I do, like
SWV
Whitney
is R and
mentioned it.
B.
Yeah,
Like you're talking about groups, SWV is R and B. Total was R and B. Escape was R and B. Destiny's Child was pop. And so then Beyonce goes from Destiny's Child to doing her solo stuff, and it's the same. It's just her. It's all pop. It's all pop.
and to me, that's not a knock. That's not even not a knock, but that's just the reality of it. Just like when I think of R&B, even I think even Janet Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like she got more ballad. You know what I'm saying? Like song, but she also crossed over to pop. Also as well. Like, but even going back to Drake, like I think Drake, we talked about it on our top 25 list. You know what I mean? Obviously, I had him on mine just to give him credit for what he's done, but he's nowhere near my top 10. I think I had him maybe 17 or 18 or something like that. But I mean, he's clearly pop. You know what I mean? And that's not even a knock on him.
Yeah, that's not a. That's a whole genre of music.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's the goat of pop music in terms of that style of
Rap, yeah,
I would say rap pop. He's the goat of rap pop.
for sure.
Period.
For sure.
Over anybody. But hip hop, to me, in my opinion, hip hop, he's not even top 30. But rap pop, he ain't nobody even close. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of rap pop. That he got it. He created his own lane, and he built some more lanes, and he drive all the cars in them lanes. But like I just don't feel like I feel like if he had to make a boom bap hip hop rap, I'm just spitting album like niggas be saying Drake fell off.
Yeah. We ain't gonna argument for that.
And I'm not saying that he's not capable of it, but it's a reason why a lot of people don't make a full on hip hop album and they make pop albums or they make flute albums because if they had to make a rap album, like it would be a lot of criticism. Can you carry 10, 11, 12 tracks where you just
you said flute? You said flute. You talking about 3,000?
What happened?
You said a flute album. You said flute.
I just know people do things that we can't explain.
Yeah, now my let's just go ahead and say about at this point, like Andre. Yeah,
But that's y'all king though.
No.
No, that's y'all king.
I had him. I had him in my. I had him like 24, 25, something like that in mind.
I mean, again, like I can't. You broke your own criteria because he doesn't have an album for you to go off of for you to say that.
Love Below.
When we made the criteria, he doesn't have a single solo album for you to say. And that's the problem. Like when we say my favorite means that's what I like. But when we say best, like my favorite sport, hands down, is basketball. My best sport, hands down, is soccer. Man, when I was working at the Boys and Girls Club, I was coaching the kids' soccer team. Man, we would be the only team that we lost to. It was a team out in East Memphis. They didn't have nothing but Hispanic kids on them. And we still only lost by 1 goal. I had a bunch of kids from North Memphis, and I had them jokers looking like they was ready to play in the World Cup or something.
Right, so yeah,
but that is my best sport. But that ain't my favorite sport. And if Raleigh Egypt hadn't cut their soccer team, they cut their soccer team out when I got to 9th grade. If they hadn't cut their soccer team out, I guarantee you I'd have got a scholarship to play soccer in college.
Yeah.
But my favorite sport It's basketball. But now, if somebody asks me, like, well, what's the best? Well, soccer, easily, hands down. But so now, with that being said, my favorite rapper is Royce the 5'9", but he ain't the GOAT. But that's who I got more songs in my playlist of. That, and when you're being objective, no, okay, yes, subjectively, yes, Royce is all the way up there. But if I'm being objective, I can't put him over Jay-Z. Even though I got way more Royce songs than I got a Jay-Z song. I can't put him over Nas, even though I got way more Royce songs than I got Nas songs.
Yeah.
I can't put him over Biggie and Tupac, even though I got way more Royce. I got Royce songs all the way back from 99 to 2022. I got more Royce songs on my playlist than Jay-Z, Nas, Tupac, and Biggie combined. But I cannot put Royce over them.
Right.
Even though he's my favorite. And so, like, when I say, do I think Andre is better pound for pound than a lot of those guys? Definitely. But I can't put you over them and you ain't even played in the game. You ain't even got in the game. I don't care that when ain't nobody around, you throwing the ball from half court and it's all net. What you do in the game? What you do on your solo album? Oh, it don't exist. But man, you got some amazing features on somebody else's stuff. What you do on your own? What thoughts that have you compiled to a beat that is just you? And I can go back and be like, oh, this song. No, it's always on a Ludacris song or a Drake song or a Jay-Z song or an Outkast song. It ain't never on an Andre song.
Mm-hmm.
You got more songs solo of you playing the flute than you do of you rapping. Ain't no way I can have you. And I'm just saying, the only reason we care about you is because you can rap.
Yeah.
We don't care about your acting or the flute. Or how many instruments you can play, or how you can do your voice and sound like you can sing. We only know you because of Players Ball and Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music and Rosa Parks and Elevators, and you have dope one-liners and punchlines and stuff like that. And so niggas was salivating, waiting on an offering. Because I guarantee you, if he would have did one, Andre could have shot in my top 5 off of one.
Yeah, but but you saw the interview that he did. He was like, what I'm supposed to talk about, my colonoscopy.
Excuses.
That's what I thought.
But then you said you want to do another Outkast album. So what y'all gonna talk about?
Yeah, exactly. For the
no, it's because you don't want to, because again, that scrutiny of, oh, that shit was whack, bro. I thought he was gonna come better than that.
Yeah, he in his head on that. He in his head on that because there's no way that you say you have nothing to talk about, but all the features that you did in the last 3 or 4 years could actually make an album, a small EP or something.
Go listen to his verse on Rosa Parks, and that encapsulates exactly why he ain't put out no album. But essentially, he talks about being excited to go get his favorite group CD, only to hear that they not coming with it, that they done fell off. That's essentially like, go back and listen to that Rosa Parks verse. And he talks about being in like to go, and then as a matter of fact, they even got a little skit. I can't remember if it was before or after the song where like dude was talking like, hey man, your boys came out with a new CD. You're not gonna get that new CAD. You're not gonna go get it, man. Your boys got a new joint out. Like, oh man, I can't even. That's why he ain't put one out.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. All right, brother. I think we good for this first virtual thing, but we gonna obviously be back in the thing, but this is just something else to help bring out more content a little bit more often. We got some guests coming up. I won't say who, but Rag, no, we talked about a couple already that we got on tap that actually waiting on us. So we gonna We're gonna get that soon here, man. And I think we shut it down, man. You got anything else for the people or something to say? What's going on? But
Nope.
Sound good to me. So y'all, until next time, continue with that executive mindset.
Most definitely keep it presidential.
Salute.
Arrivederci.